Hello and welcome to Torpenhow's guide on lumber camps and how to place lumber camps good. We've got a fairly chopped out wood line here we're looking at. If you're like me, this is giving you a slight conniption. We have lots of vills bumping into each other. We have many tiles of walking distance. Not great efficiency here, and we'll quantify that a little bit later. But for now, we'll just talk about vill behavior. So when you tell a vill to build a lumber camp, it will pick a tree at random that is close to the lumber camp, chop that, and then pick another tree, chop that, and so on. So you end up with this sort of radial pattern if you just let the vills go for quite a long time, as I've done here. They are not particularly smart about not bumping into each other, as you can see. There's a lot of vills on this lumber camp, probably way too many, 28 vills. And so the cycle required here, as we'll watch one, from the lumber camp, they walk all the way to the trees, chop until they are full, and then walk all the way back to the lumber camp to drop off, and we'll call that one cycle. So obviously, the more time spent walking and bumping and fighting to actually get to the wood and back to the lumber camp, the less the efficiency. So when we talk about refreshing lumber camps, usually you want to do it quickly because at some point in the game there's other things to do besides mess around with your lumber camps. So you're going to refresh them maybe like so and keep that a little bit more efficient. It is a wood investment, but the payback time on the investment is fairly short, especially if you have this many vills hammering away on the wood. So we'll go through a couple just little examples here. Made myself a nice little simple, fairly straight couple of wood lines. Obviously a perfectly straight wood line, the perfect placement is just to put the lumber camp right up against the wood line. And you want to get at least 2 vills right on these corners here, which I will show you. And you can do this by shift clicking them if you're building and then wandering away. But so this vill we are gonna come on. There we go. We're gonna micro onto this tree. It's this tree and this tree that are the perfect efficiency trees. You want to focus on them. I don't know what's going on with her. Why I can't click this. There we go. My goodness. No, go away. Go away. Good lord. Alright. So because these 2 vills are standing here chopping these trees, they don't actually have to move. So these 2 vills are perfectly efficient. As soon as they get full, they will drop off instantly at the lumber camp. So usually you can only have 2 of these per lumber camp. Some configurations might get more, but this is what you're looking for, perfect efficiency. And that will rack up in terms of wood over the life of this lumber camp. So whenever you can, highly recommended. And you can do that if you're, here's a little corner one maybe. So with a corner lumber camp, that's a few too many here. You can start like so. And then just tell them to chop the trees in sequence. I've bungled it there, but you can tell them to move around the lumber camp and they will chop these trees in sequence. And at least 2 of these dudes will stay fairly efficient throughout the life of the lumber camp. Notice how I put 2 on each side. That's usually the most efficient. If you have a whole bunch on one side, they tend to bump more. For that reason, you also don't want to use the lumber camp as part of a wall. Like sometimes you'll see people wall using a lumber camp. Not a great idea. I would not recommend it. If you're going to wall a wood line in, you definitely want to do something like that. Give the vills a little bit of room to work. Something like that, maybe. Alright, so sometimes there will be a little pocket in the wood line. Let's get rid of this outpost, it's in the way. So one thing you can do with these little pockets is get 1 or 2 vills. Usually, if you're lucky, it's 1 because it's just a 1-tile pocket. Put 2 vills in there because this one is sized for 2, then build the lumber camp. These 2 will have some trees to work very efficiently on, and will also be safe from any attacks. The downside is they can't get out until they've chopped themselves out, but usually you have plenty of vills on wood throughout the game, so not a huge problem. If you do this, definitely don't oversaturate it, because you can definitely put too many vills into a little pocket and just make them completely unable to work. See, these guys are full, and well, let's see what happens when the lumber camp gets built. There we go. They all just end up sort of standing around because they're trying to get to trees, but they can't, and it's a whole mess, not recommended at all. One thing to watch for on a wood line that's facing away from you isometrically is make sure that you are actually on the wood line. So I'm going to place 3 lumber camps here. You see this a lot in like Low Elo Legends videos, where they look like they are on there. So this one's actually 2 tiles away from the wood line. It does kind of look like it's close. This one is all the way up against that wood line, and this one is 1 tile away. And if you pay attention to the red, the lumber camp icon will turn red when it's on a tree and can't be placed, so you can use that to gauge where you're at in relation to the wood line. Or do yourself one better and just play with some sort of small trees mod, so you can actually see what's going on here, because you definitely can't really micro these onto the efficient trees when you can't see them to click them. And let's see, this one's just a little bigger pocket. Bigger pocket, you can probably nestle that in there. There's going to be a lot of trees here within fairly close distance to the lumber camp. That's a great lumber camp there. You can't fit too many in there, obviously, in the little pocket. But that placement's going to be much better than something like that, where there's only going to be a couple trees that are close, or like that, maybe. So as soon as these trees get chopped out, there's going to be a lot less that are close to the lumber camp. So definitely nestle those puppies right in there, deep, deep into that little pocket there. All right, so that's a somewhat artificially generated wood line here. So I'll show you more of a natural wood line. So this wood line's maybe something more that's randomly generated by a map script. It's got a little curve to it. It's got bumps. That's all perfectly natural. If your wood has curves and bumps, don't worry about that. Much the same thing. Instead of straight, it's going to be curvy. So there's like little, like this is probably less efficient than this, right? So I would definitely want to go there instead of on a little bump. That one's pretty flat. And then again, when you get to the back of the wood line, just watch out for the red to get a nice, comfy spot for your lumber camps. Haven't actually started with that much wood. There we go. So here, like maybe there would be good. It looks like you can't even get too much farther than that, but there we go. Something like that would be nice. So all these pretty solid. Obviously, there's not a lot of perfectly straight wood lines out in the wild, so don't worry about a little curvature. Some people even prefer a curvature depending on which way it curves. All right. I think that's all I have for that. We're going to talk about work rates now. So the work rate modeling is what I've called this here. So a villager walks at 0.8 tiles per second, collects at 0.39 wood per second, and carries 10 wood. So this is all base Dark Age values. So to do 1 cycle, you have 2 trips back and forth, depending on how many tiles you have to walk. Then you got to collect all the wood until you have 10. So we can calculate a cycle time and get a effective collection rate. Obviously, 0 tiles, the collection rate is equal to the collection rate of the wood chopping itself. And then as you add more and more walking time, you get less and less effective collection rate. So here it is in wood per vil seconds, wood per vil minutes, and then comparison to the base efficiency. You can see the efficiency drops off pretty quickly if you have more than 1 or 2 tiles. This is not great. And then we can take the efficiency and we can get a delta in actual wood per vil minute here. So you can see if you have a trip of 2 tiles, you're losing about 4 wood per vil per minute. which does add up considering we have maybe 6 to 8 vills on a wood line, right? So that's a decent amount of wood per minute, and as the game goes on, that just racks up. So this is it is costing you wood to have poor lumber camps. Here's with Bidaxe. With Bidaxe, the efficiency actually drops off faster because Bidaxe boosts the collection rate but doesn't impact the villager speed at all. So with Bidaxe, you really want the vills to be collecting even more because that collection rate goes up. A note about collection rates, Bidaxe is 20%, and then the next upgrade, Bowsaw, I believe is also 20%, but they are multiplicative, so they will compound on each other. They're not additive. So this is with Bidaxe. This is typical to like a feudal age villager working away. So more than 2 tiles here, not really recommended. 7 wood per vill minute. If you have 10 on wood, that's 70 wood per minute. So in 3 minutes, that's 210 wood. That's nothing to laugh at here. So I did this out adding, going from the base, adding Bidaxe, adding wheel, adding bow saw, and then adding handcart, and then 2-man saw. Each one adding to the other ones, this is maybe the rough order that you might get them. Maybe wheel and saw is backwards, but dash line here is your base efficiency per tile distance. And you can see some interesting things happening here. Obviously, bit drops it down, but then some of the other upgrades boost it back up. But remember that this is efficiency based on a perfect, compared to a perfect vill. So in any case, you get more than 2 or 3 tiles, that efficiency gets down below about 80%. That's no bueno. And in terms of the delta, the actual losses, let's say in wood per vill minute, here they are. Again, 2, 3, you're losing 5 wood per vill minute. And then as you go on, it gets worse and worse and worse in terms of absolute wood losses. So of course we have some test data. I did 4 vills on a lumber camp, 2 each side, and checked out the collection at 2 minutes and then stopped them at 4 minutes and dropped everything off. So they might not line up perfectly, the 2 minutes to the 4 minutes. So if you're wondering why, that's why. So in Dark Age, 2 minutes, 160 wood, 4 minutes, 363 wood. And post-imp versus Dark Age, you see it is more 566 wood because all the upgrades are in, etc. So we can compare this to putting them deliberately all on one side, which is obviously inefficient. So we have 140 wood, and then at 4 minutes we have 339 wood in the Dark Age, and then post-imp is 551. So the delta, 20 wood-ish, a little less for imp. So with 4 vills, this is, I mean, this makes a difference, but it's not crazy. Obviously, if you had a whole bunch of vills on one side, that would make it even worse. All right, here's our 1 tile off lumber camp. I'll just note that I did have small trees on for this, so you can actually see what's going on. This is the identical pine tree mod, which I highly recommend. So you can see these trees. You can actually micro them onto the trees that are more efficient using this mod. But at 1 tile off, 2 minutes is similar at 140, but the 4 minutes is another 20 down from 2 each side. The 343 post-imp is 542, which is less than both the previous cases in post-imp. And just a note about oversaturation, this is 12 vills. I did split them 6 on each side. And we're going to compare them to the 4 here, so I'm going to use the per vill numbers. So the Dark Age collection for 12 vills, sort of oversaturating a wood line, is 430 wood, which is 36 each, compared to the 4 vill case, which is 40 each, which is quite stark. That's a good 10% less efficiency. And then 4 minutes, we have 78 wood each, compared to 91. That's also pretty radical. So the conclusion here is do not oversaturate your wood lines. 12 vills to 1 lumber camp is way too much. I would limit it to 6, 8, more in that range. So that's this one. Don't oversaturate your wood lines. The other conclusions, With your placements, you want to maximize the number of efficient trees. That would be trees that are right next to the lumber camp. You want to target those efficient trees with micro, especially in the dark age when there's nothing really else to do. Refresh your lumber camps. I'll put it in the comments. There's a great video by Spirit of the Law that talks about when to refresh the lumber camps. As I recall, it's something like the 2-3 tiles, which we saw in the efficiency charts that jives. Don't oversaturate your wood lines. We already talked about that one. Wheelbarrow and horse collar actually do matter quite a bit, especially if you let your lumber camps go and the villagers are walking more than that 2 or 3 tile distance. Wheelbarrow and horse collar help a lot with both the speed and carry capacity. So they are important for lumberjacks to get these upgrades. And always remember that slideshows are for nerds. So we'll talk a little bit about settlements. Settlements are a lumber camp, mill, mining camp, all in one. The South American civs get these, and the positioning is mostly the same in terms of wood, but considering they can also take other resources, for example, this one's on wood and stone, you can consider that. You can even deliberately give yourself a little bit more space on the wood to get yourself better efficiency on another resource. You can think about the pros and cons there. For example, this one's wood hunt gold. Also keep in mind the settlement is 3x3, and you can farm around it perfectly. So placement, like I said, roughly the same for lumber camps. Just keep in mind the other res that might be available. So this one's wood hunt gold. You could even have wood hunt goldfish, or wood hunt goldfish stone berries, or even the very rare and coveted wood hunt goldfish stoneberries papaya oysters whale configuration. So if you ever manage to get this one, good on you. And we'll go into a little bit about more advanced lumber camp positions and configurations. Positioning very important when you're dealing with wood, as we've been talking about. This one, for example, called the Jack Shack, just a single lumberjack, wailing away on that tree there in his little nook with no one else around. We have the couple's retreat. You know, sometimes you just gotta escape into the wilderness with your lad or lass, and other couples are there too. Sometimes this can lead to something called the lifestyle, which I don't think I need to explain, or even a throuple, where we have 3 lumberjacks wailing away on the wood together. Once you get more than 3, you start to have something like a polycule, where the relationships between these 5 lumberjacks are just way too complicated to explain. Then there's the classic cowgirl, one of my favorites. We have our cow looking on, and then there was, of course, the reverse cowgirl. And don't forget doggy style. It is a classic for a reason. And then if there's no female villagers around, you have the circle chop, which no one is proud of, but sometimes you got to get that baobab tree down, you know. We can talk a little bit about woodline grooming, the natural radial sort of shape that the woodline takes, en natural, if you will. Sometimes that is pleasing to people. Some people prefer the triangle, or even the heart. The heart's a little rare, a little harder to chop the shape out. Landing strip is a classic, very much a favorite, especially back in the 2000s, I would say. And then, of course, you could have the full Brazilian. So hope this has been a little bit informative, and happy chopping.